I have to admit something to you guys. My memory is pretty crappy. Growing up, I don't remember a lot of things. In order to remember different things that happened in my life, what did I use? Movies. My mom recently came up to me and she said, "You remember when you were 12 years old and we went to that restaurant and you puked everywhere?" I was like, 12 years old? No, I don't remember that. You remember that we went to go see Indiana Jones 3 and you loved it? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. After what did we do? Yeah, yeah, I remember. I went to the restaurant and I puked everywhere. Yeah, that's right. So all these movies have different parts of my life. What's the meaning of this? Well, the whole thing is that growing up, my parents would take me to movies, and I wouldn't really remember the smaller things, but movies I would be fascinated with. I wasn't like some kid moving around and everything. I would sit in my seat and I would watch these movies the way the camera moved and the way the pictures all came together. And all the water, all the lights and effects, and they all came together and made a story. It was powerful. In particular, one movie is ingrained in my mind. When I think of movies, this is the one that's stuck in my head. Who's seen this? Anybody see this movie? Raise your hand. Yep. You've all seen this movie. It was the first movie in a movie theater that I remember going and seeing. I remember we watched this movie and I was very excited and crying the entire time. You know, when ET leaves, I was heartbroken. I remember the opening of the movie. Do you guys remember the opening of the movie? It opens at night. There's trees everywhere. It's light. There's some lights. Wind is happening and moving the trees. And we see something wobbling through the trees, and cars and trucks are moving out of the way, and lights are flashing, and then we see 2 feet plant, and the cameras go from the feet to a keychain. We don't see the face. If we focus on the keychain and we're like, who's that man? We don't know who that guy is. We don't know what's going on with this guy. And he's chasing this thing and he fails. And the little black thing escapes into a house. And to summarize, things happen in the movie, and you know, they go on a bicycle and it flies, and E.T. is going to die, and he's very sick. And you know, we remember that scene. He's in the bathroom, and E.T.'s in the bathtub, and the boy's crying over him, and then it pans outside, and all the FBI, news crews, news trucks are all piled up and moved in, and then the camera zooms down, and there we see it again. The 2 feet plant pan up, and we see the keychain. We still don't know who it is. We don't know what his job is. All we have is that picture of the keychain and the correlation from the beginning and to that moment. And we knew right from there that that guy is there to get ET and he's there to take him away. From that moment, I knew that I wanted to be in film and I wanted to invest in film and focus on that. Just because of that picture, not because of what was going on in the movie, because of that moment. So from that moment on, I studied it. I went to Gallaudet into the film program there. I remember the class, Professor Fakhoud, who died recently. He was hearing. He didn't sign. He wouldn't sign. He was a hearing teacher. He just didn't sign. But you know, he did video production there, and he didn't even try to sign. He a lot of things that he taught us was as such. So, for example, visual expression. How we take one thing, one picture to another picture and create a story. But he had a hard time explaining that to us. So let's say, oh, you guys in the class, I want you guys to express something about yourself. The first project that we had. The first project we had, so I want you to express something about yourself. And he showed us a piece of his work. Remember, he's hearing. So something from his back in his university days. You know, the first picture was him and shirtless, and then it went to like, blades of grass in the wind, and then went to a mower, and then it went to fire burning, and then went to a man running, and then it zoomed up into the clouds, and I didn't understand it. It was strange, but it was his expression. It had music and sound and things from his life. And he told the deaf class, I want you to express yourself. You don't have to follow what I did. It's all about you and your expression. I didn't know what he wanted from us. I did a couple words and everything, and he said the class was great, and he said all everybody's projects were great, but that moment I still didn't understand it. It's still ingrained in my head. I transferred to RIT, and I was in production and technical production. So like I learned like what camera lenses are, and I learned how to set up lights and how you all these different rules you have. You can't have like a third light and all these different things that were happening. But then there was this book that we received. The grammar of film language. Film has a language? There's a language for film? I don't. It wasn't like some two papers stapled together that had like words on. There was just a couple of phrases. No, it was a thick book, a textbook of different words. For example, close up, medium shot, wide shot. Do you know what those are? Close up, medium shot, wide shot. I'm gonna summarize it. A close up. I'm gonna summarize. A wide shot is tends to be used for surrounding, to know where you are. You set up the trees, the house, the people walking, man sitting down, smoking a cigarette, and all these different things. A medium shot usually is from like your torso, like a guy sitting on a tree, and a close up is his face, this right here, to show emotion. That one little moment is what a close up is for. So you have tilt, you have pans, you have rises, falls, you have all these different things. And then it all has to match something. So voiceover, off screen. So for example, voiceover, to just summarize, is like when we see like a poor boy and then there's a narrator saying he needs support and everything like that. It's something like to support the story. So that's the narrator's voice, and that's off screen. That is a voiceover, and it all blends together. Now for a deaf film, there are a few more words. I know it's really small. It's a huge list. It's how you open a story, introduce your characters, and how they have conflict, and there's an arc, and there's still conflict, and they finally get to a climax, and there's war, and there's bombs, and there's still conflict, and then it dissolves, and the story resolves itself. And then it has a happy ending.